question now on the reimbursement, or I guess that's not right.
Yeah, it's closed in a legal sense that the rulings are there. It's not closed in the sense we don't have cash in hand.
Yeah, I got you. Happy New Year, Robert.
Happy New Year, Mr. Supervisor, and everybody, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
I'm Robert Ripp from Massapequa, New York. We spoke in the last couple of meetings. My question is really not so much in relation to the individual, once again, to the individual resolutions, but the property cleanup in general. I just wanted to verify, when we do the cleanups, what exactly are we doing? We're just cleaning the exterior? We're not going into the properties, are we?
You're talking about invading the building structure. No, just cleaning up the exterior of the home.
Could you tell me, I noticed that the charges are different for each property. How do you calculate, like with a landscaper, I think, maybe they do it by the square footage, I don't really know, but how do you calculate how, like, I noticed like you charge one property $650, but another $1,500. How do they come up with that number?
Well, I think by common sense appraisal, it depends on the effort that's put forward. But I would say it's based.
That makes sense.
I mean, some properties are dirtier than others.
That makes complete sense. We had spoken in particular about the property that was located at 75 Thurman, I think it's Avenue in Hicksville, where I had spoken to the realtor and he mentioned that the bank had ordered the cleanup. Did you find out who requested the cleanup on that property?
I really don't recall. I don't recall.
Well, because I had asked you a couple of meetings back and you had said you were going to find out.
Oops.
Okay.
Just let's get the question clear so it doesn't happen again.
Okay.
Well, what's the question?
I'd like to know, in regards to a specific property, 75 Thurman Avenue, the town passed a resolution a couple meetings ago to clean it up. I'd like to know who ordered the cleanup of that property. Actually,
Who ordered or who requested?
who requested it? Who requested that? I'm sorry. Thanks for pointing that out. That's big.
If we can, we will. How's that?
Okay. And I just wanted to.
What's that?
What happened at Hicksville?
Hicksville.
In regards to the properties, I'd like to know each. Correct me if I'm wrong, but each property should have like a code compliance file on it. If I believe, I'm hoping, where the request for information that came in, a request for investigation, the code officer's compliance reports when he goes to the property, the notice of violation that's served. I mean, there should be a file for each property, right?
I would think something generally in that nature.
Okay. And can you tell me, when we clean these up, you now, I noticed, because I visit some of the properties, does some get classified as dangerous buildings and some don't?
Well, it may be, but now we're guessing.
Yeah, the cleanup is not necessarily having anything to do with the danger of the building. It could just be the growth of the shrubbery or grass. There's the property maintenance on 135 and 182. The details as to what requires a cleanup and a notice of violation. The dangerous building really is a whole separate chapter of the book.
No, but let's go slow here. In my experience, because I've seen quite a few, typically what happens is it looks like an abandoned property. There's overgrowth in the shrubbery, looks like the lawn hasn't been cut in 10 years, you know, that kind of thing. That's what typically draws a resident's attention or the town's attention to the property. Once they enter upon the property, sky's the limit. I don't know what they might find. I'm not aware that too many of them are found to be structurally unsound ultimately, but yes, it could happen that they are.
So can you tell me, because I had asked this a couple meetings back, are we now, because these abandoned properties, is the town following the state guidelines and reporting them to the state registry for zombie homes here in New York?
Tim Dyke, I don't want to put you on the spot, but can you help us a little? What's the process?
Typically what happens is a resident will make a complaint to the Code Enforcement Bureau.
But that's not always what happens. Typically.
Correct.
Yeah.
A case file is opened. An inspector does go out, they'll make an assessment of the property. They will put the property owner on notice for a number of days to clean up the property. If they don't coincide with the notice, the town orders a cleanup. And as the supervisor was saying, the majority of them are, cosmetic. Well, they'll go there, clip the lawn, clip the hedges, clean out any trash that's on the lawn, things like that. Okay?
I'm sorry, but just one last question on a statement you just made. How else is the town being made aware of these properties besides residents complaining?
I don't know if there's any other
actually called the code enforcement division, and I explained similarly, I wanted the same thing. They told me I had to fill out a request for investigation and send it in.
I think typically it starts with that. Correct. Yeah, that's appropriate.
Okay, so if it starts with a request for investigation, then, I mean, you just mentioned that's not the only way that the town is alerted to these properties. How else are we being alerted to? Is it, let me just ask you straight out. I mean, this real estate guy told me that the bank ordered. Is it true that banks are ordering cleanups?
I don't know what the real estate guy told you, and I'm not aware that banks are ordering cleanups.
Okay.
I have nothing against the real estate industry, but I'd be cautious taking anything they say. The only thing I can tell you, Rob, I'm not trying to be difficult. One very obvious way, and I think Tim Zike was right in characterizing it as typical, is a resident bullying. I mean, who knows better than the residents what's going on in the street? But also, as it happens, I'm just remembering a summer or two ago, I was driving along Forest Avenue in Massapequa, and there once was a house there, and all I could see was, overgrown grass and shrubbery and trees. I couldn't even tell if the house was there anymore. So I thought if I contacted Highway or P&G or whatever, and told them to get over there and give it a haircut. It was unsightly. I was actually surprised I didn't hear from residents. So one way it comes in is through residents' contact, which is probably the most prevalent. And I can tell you in my case that I've done it on personal observations. I don't know, Tim, if there are any other ways it comes in?
I'd say 10 times out of 10, at least with my experience, everything comes in with a request form.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
What you got, Robert? Hello again, everybody. Hello. Just before I get into the couple of concerns, I just wanted to touch on a couple of things based on just what was said. And, I guess I want to apologize. I mentioned it a couple of times. I had incurred a permanent hearing loss when I was in the Marine Corps, and I worked in the transit police in the subway, and I'm deaf. I'm constantly accused. In case anybody doesn't know, I have 6 children. They're always accusing me of yelling at them. Everybody tells me I'm yelling. I just want to apologize. You're right about the overtures, and I don't mean I don't realize that I'm talking as loud as I am, so I'm going to refrain from that. And I also want to give you kudos in relation to the live streaming of the meetings. I read that, and I realized that the town probably isn't, or there could be like, an argument about it, but it's fantastic to hear that you guys are moving along with that.
Let me tell you the first mistake you made. I didn't even know it was you talking.
I don't know, I just figured it was me because I talk so loud. My wife is always telling me, you shut up, everybody can hear you.
You don't know what's any explanations or apologies. What do you got, Rob?
Just a couple of quick things. I want to talk to you to begin with. You may know, I know I sent in a piece of correspondence to the town clerk and to the town attorney's office.
On the foil?
On the foil.
Yeah, I'm not going to shortstop you, but I saw it. It was just within the past couple days.
December 16th.
Okay, I thought it was...
It's
about all the outstanding foils. Is that what it's about?
Yeah, sure.
We have an issue, multiple issues, with both you and with Newsday about outstanding foils. And I think to this point there's been a tug of war. We apparently, the town, Newsday, yourself, we don't agree on how it should be handled. But it is the new year, and in the spirit of doing things, of getting the year off to a good start. No one in government is really ever comfortable saying no to someone. You can't have this, you can't have that. Sometimes there are legitimate reasons why you can't. There may be litigation, there may be reasons that which are in the best interest of the town and its residents not to give the info. I'd like to, if possible, wipe the slate clean. And I'm looking at you, Tom Sabelco. I'd like you to be the point person on it. I'd like a meeting to take place. News that you'll have to do through the channels you've been doing it with. I know there have been phone conferences going on, but I'd like you to sit. Rob Rip and I have done this before. We've been together. He doesn't bite. I know you don't bite. Set up the meeting wherever it's mutually convenient. We do it down in Massapequa, you can do it up here, whatever you choose. And with the list in hand, go through the items, and let's round them out to the extent we can in favor of Rip, in favor of Rob Rip, And if there are any problems, if you as a deputy town attorney and someone, you know, who's pretty knowledgeable of this stuff, do see a problem, before you deny anything or don't, let me be the ultimate referee, let the town board be the ultimate referee, okay? I'd like to start with a genuine effort on the part of everybody to resolve this. I'm just not comfortable arguing about
Okay.
whether or not you should have.
I just want to let you know that I understand that not everything that you ask for is actually public information. There could be, there could be times when there has to be an official decision.
Sure.
I was just concerned because, I wasn't even getting answered or anything, So, but it sounds great. It sounds like a plan, and
Right.
thank you again. The next thing I wanted to talk to you about was, I have some information for you if you don't mind. Back in October, I had submitted a request for investigation form, a complaint in relation to a garage that Town Attorney Donna Swanson had erected on a certain piece of property. There's a question that her home is on one lot, the garage is on a second lot. I didn't realize I had this stuff, although I sent in a pretty detailed complaint. I have a copy of it with me
I'm
today.
sorry, Bob, I don't want to lose you. A garage, say that again about the lots.
I filed a complaint back in October.
Complain with us?
Yeah, I faxed it to all of the council persons' offices, or rather emailed it, and I faxed it to a few people and sent it mail. And basically, I allege that Deputy Town Attorney Donna Swanson had erected a garage on a lot 596, and her property is on lot 578. All the paperwork that she did is related into lot 578. And what I wanted to share with you today, to turn in, is I didn't realize I had this. No, like from what I understand from talking with the building department on new construction, you don't need a new survey. You can use an existing survey. However, if you had an engineer company do a survey, they would differentiate what lot you're on. Well, section 66, block 135, lot 596 or 578. So what happened in this particular instance is an architect came in and he did a sworn plot plan, site plan, certificate affidavit, and he's swearing to the property that Donna Swanson is representing in her building permits. He also did a hand drawing, a rendering, and all the paperwork has the incorrect lot number on it. It has lot 578 where her property is. So in essence, in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, it appears that Ms. Swanson misrepresented the lot number on her permits. The drawing was done, which shows, it shows everything as one big lot. It's not a survey, and I really don't believe that a licensed architect would not be able to tell the difference between one lot and another. And let me just turn that stuff into it. And I don't blame, I couldn't lay any blame or see any blame on it really, anybody that was reviewing the paperwork, because they would just assume everything was on lot 578. Recently,
I'm going to, I tell
Okay.
you what, let's
Okay.
attack what you said so far. I'm putting on my old town attorney hat. Actually, Councilman Cascinato may be a little better at this because of his background, but I think what you said is, see, I think it's probably a merger. Yeah, right, that's the first thing I'm thinking of. Well, that's the order. Yeah, but I'm sorry, but
that's quite all right. Not to speak over you, but they haven't been merged. As a matter of fact,
seems like, well, you won't be able to do it here, but what we're looking at, I may be guessing here, but what we're looking at is, it does appear to be, rather hand-drawn, whatever, proposed building plan, a plot plan. It would seem logical to me, and I could be wrong, maybe you could find out, it would seem logical to me that if what Rob is saying is so, that out of the blue this appears, and it's all now on her residential lot. I'm guessing that there was some kind of a merger of some kind of a merger.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but I just provided you with the Nassau County tax map. On lot 596, the only structure is the garage. It's just an accessory building.
Well, why would it be 596? It's a lot.
If you take a look at the, I'm sorry.
Would it be, transposed because it's lots,
Well, I may supervise.
yeah, go ahead.
In many instances, you will see a lot grouping. There are several lots that make up the property. They may be grouped, in which case, all references are always made to the primary lot, which identifies the group.
I think they were merged. Who would, I'm sorry.
Who would designate that grouping? According to Nassau County, they're two separate lots.
They're individual lots, but they can be grouped. And then if they are grouped, it is then the group, that one particular lot becomes the primary lot, and all activity is always against that primary lot, even though they may be on physically different sublots.
So who designates the group?
The county,
I'm sorry, where could I find if this was grouped?
that's the Department of Assessment.
Thank you.
So it's on the assessment record.
It's all right.
Rob,
So-
if we can hold this, can you do it now in front of?
I'll be back in 5 minutes.
All right, Tim Zeig is going to check something, because it certainly seems to me that something was done with the lot. Because now in the subsequent work, it all appears under one lot. It appears the lot lines were merged. That's what happened. Maybe long before
Well, do we
you got
know,
involved.
if there's one deed or two?
He's going to try to find out as much as he can. Can you just,
That would matter.
can we rest this for a minute?
Sure,
When the report's back?
we can rest that.
Go ahead. You want to move on?
Just one last thing, not really that, but I just want to just reiterate, I was wondering, I reported this back in October, has any type of investigation or anything been done on it?
Not that I'm aware of, no, I'm not aware. But is the matter with outside agencies as well? We've reported elsewhere?
Yes, I reported to I wanted to ask you that too, but it seems like you didn't even acknowledge my initial complaint. I wanted to ask you if you refer this to any outside agencies also.
I haven't done that yet, but I think this morning I want to get some more answers before I go doing anything. I did get a response. I know you made a complaint to the state about Donna Swanson related to her position as a notary.
Right.
I did get a response from the state absolving her fully and saying that any allegations were unfounded. I did that again. But I'm not aware of, I think there are other matters involving Donna that you sent to the district attorney, am I correct? I think there are other.
I don't think so.
I think there are. I'm pretty sure there are. No? Okay, maybe.
I didn't think so.
Now, have you sent this matter to the DA? Because we don't want to step on the DA's toes.
I've forwarded this actually when I forwarded it to you, I forwarded it to the DA back in October.
Oh, okay. Okay, very good. We'll find out.
Okay. Just the last thing I want to talk about was, I got a letter from Leventhal, Caruso, Mulaney, and Blinkoff. They're the attorneys that the town, evidently, I guess we hired them now as capacity, their counsel to the ethics board.
Oh, okay, yes.
Okay.
Steve Leventhal, right?
And it was in relation to the last ethics complaint that I made. And I just want to ask again, I know I've come up here a number of times, and I don't mean to be repetitious, but I really want to see a public ethics board meeting, just going through the resolutions of how the ethics board that exists today was put in place. I mean, back in '98, a deputy supervisor recommended Mr. Nahy, who I missed last meeting, but I understand that the town just passed a resolution to renew his role as the town's civil service hearing officer. And I understand what that is. If you get in trouble at work and you go for charges, that's the guy who's the judge. So he's the head of the ethics board, and he's the head of that kind of doesn't work out.
Rob, I think, again, not to short circuit you, but you're right about repetition, but not to short circuit you, but I think the whole idea of getting the Leventhal law firm involved here was to, and again, figuratively speaking, to take the Board of Ethics. Actually, that's not really a fair characterization. For many years, the Board of Ethics really wasn't called upon to do a whole lot. There weren't complaints made, things of that nature. They weren't charged, I think, with reviewing because I was on the Board of Ethics way back in the dark ages. Jim, just give me
No problem, sir.
charged with reviewing the financial disclosure statements, but not much more than that. And I've read time and time again that boards of ethics in many other municipalities kind of suffered from the same problem. They really weren't called upon very frequently, and they became not dormant, but they were really not functioning. And then, out of the blue comes an issue they have to face. We were trying to remember who the members of the Board of Ethics were. Did they even want to be on the board anymore, and so on and so forth. The Leventhal law firm was called in to really reconstitute, if you will, the Board of Ethics and make it a more vibrant, functioning body of the town of Oyster Bay. If you could bear with us a little bit longer and let them complete their work, hopefully we'll get there.
Okay.
Because we did make an investment in this thing, and we'll try to get it operating. And I say that in fairness to the Board of Ethics member who kind of sat there for many years, ready to serve if called upon, but we're never really called upon. And then, yeah, you know how it happens.
I agree with you saying. I just want to remind you, I mean, it took me a number of times to actually get my ethics complaint to the ethics board, and I didn't make it.
How many complaints do you have there?
Well, I have two, but like the first one I submitted 3 or 4 times, I actually had to come up here and read it to you before it was entertained, so. But I'm happy to hear that we're going to correct the ethics board.
Yeah, we're trying to do that. It's not always that.
That's all I could ask for.
Yeah, if you sit in our shoes sometimes and look at it from our perspective, we'll see what we can do. Did I lose Tim? Oh, Tim's item.
Sorry.
What do you got?
Mr. Supervisor, just briefly looking at that file, it looks like back in 2011, she did a lot line adjustment where she purchased a portion of the lot that was adjacent to her.
So not a merger, but they adjusted.
They adjusted the lot line, and both lots at that point complied with zoning, and they considered it now one parcel.
And they became that 578 lot.
Correct.
Okay, so I don't know where that takes us exactly, but now what we're saying is it's on the same lot.
Correct.
Okay, all right. I'm not sure where that takes us, but it takes us out from under the fact that there was a separate. Now I understand when you did the handwritten drawing why it's all one lot.
Correct.
Okay, I don't know the ramifications of all that.
The only other thing I could say to that is, if I was allowed to see the file when I foiled it,
No, it's an
I would, everything would make sense, right?
Yeah, it does.
No,
No,
allegedly everything makes sense, but my point is, if I would have saw it 8 months ago when I asked to see it, we wouldn't be here today talking about
We're
this.
moving to correct that problem as well.
Okay.
And I'm not blaming you for not knowing it. I can understand why, if you haven't seen the file, obviously you couldn't know it. But instinctively, I think when you looked at what the architect did, I think it told you that somehow the lot lines disappeared or merged.
I believe it was based on a survey that a surveyor did back in
That would make
2011.
it. All right.
Thank you very much.
All right, Rob. Happy New Year again.
I'll call you, Tom, is that right? Thank you very much. Happy New Year to you.
Mr. Supervisor.
Yes, sir. Uh-oh.